Ever since European colonists began settling in the land that would later become the United States of America, many artifacts have been discovered which suggest that one of the ancient Native American mound builder civilizations, which the U.S. calls Hopewell, are descendants of Hebrew people who migrated to ancient North America during the 500s BC, which is approximately the earliest estimated dates of the Hopewell mound builders in Florida, Tennessee, and Iowa. Yet there have been many people in the United States who insist that every single one of these artifacts are fake. My personal opinion is because it opposes the idea that nobody sailed to America before Christopher Columbus. But there's at least one extremely large piece of evidence carved right into the landscape near Fayetteville, Ohio, that can't be denied as solid evidence of Hebrew people in ancient North America. And you can see it right on Google Earth. But before we get into that, just a brief introduction. The Hopewell mound builders built hundreds of thousands of structures out of various types of earth materials. These structures included burial mounds, animal effigy mounds, forts, temples, and advanced geometric structures with lunar and solar alignments. Many of these structures have been leveled down and destroyed as the United States expanded west and built itself right over them, but some still exist today. Early U.S. settlers would create detailed survey drawings of some of these structures. There are a few good books which were published by the Smithsonian in the mid-1800s that show detailed survey drawings from the Ohio and New York areas. They're called Ancient Monuments of the Mississippi Valley, Aboriginal Monuments of New York, and Antiquities of New York. But there was a one-of-a-kind mound builder structure that was unlike all the rest, at least as far as I know. In 1823, Major Isaac Roberdeau of the United States Army Corps of Engineers created this survey drawing of a massive earth structure just southwest of present-day Fayetteville, Ohio. Notice the Hebrew oil lamp. Notice the 9-candle menorah. And notice other ancient and sacred symbols such as the compass and the square. Another drawing of this structure is included in one of the Smithsonian books I mentioned earlier, Ancient Monuments of the Mississippi Valley. And still, there are some who insist that this survey drawing was fake and that the structure never even existed. Unfortunately, the United States Army Corps of Engineers completely destroyed this structure in the early 1900s and leveled it into flat ground. But why? Was it an intentional attempt to erase this odd Hebrew structure from American history? Or was it simply out of carelessness and lack of respect for ancient American antiquities? I don't know. But here's the good news. They missed a spot. And you can see it right on Google Earth. Here's a satellite image of the area where the structure was said to have been located. It's just southwest of Fayetteville, Ohio, where the 131 and the 50 intersect, and it's all just farmlands and trees. Do you see the spot they missed? There it is, right there. The Hebrew letter Shin, or Sin. And it's okay if you didn't see it. I didn't see it either until someone pointed it out to me a few months ago. Now some of you may be saying, wait, but that's not on the survey drawing. And you're right. So I wonder if that's why they missed it. In 1823, that whole area was probably covered with thick forest, and who knows for how long after that. Perhaps still in the early 1900s when they leveled it down. So what we're looking at here are massive ditches that include the Hebrew letter Shin, or Sin. I'll leave it to you to research the significance of this letter, but it's a very sacred letter in the Hebrew alphabet. I snapped this screenshot on Google Earth in the fall of 2015, and yes, I didn't even notice the letter in over the year's time that I had it. But as you can see, the letter shows up very nicely because the crop fields surrounding it have been harvested. The reason why the letter and the other lines are still green is because of the plant growth down in the massive ditches. But even if you look at it on Google Earth at a time when the fields are green with crops, you can still see the letter. So go check it out. And if you're ever out that way, hey, maybe the landowner will even let you walk around it. It's worth a try, right? I wish I would have known about that letter when I was out there. I would have asked too. So why the ditches? Well, when the mound builders built their structures, they had to get the earth materials from somewhere, right? So they dug ditches. When you look at the survey drawings of other mound builder structures, oftentimes you'll see that they dug ditches and built the walls of earth right alongside the ditches. Now, I can't tell from the 1823 survey if there were ditches alongside its walls or not, but if there weren't any, then it's likely that the dirt came from those ditches that include the Hebrew letter. But either way, that letter is there, and it's huge. Now, I would love to see if a LiDAR image of this area can still detect any traces of the structure from the 1823 survey. So, if any of you watching this video have any connections to LiDAR imaging technology, please go do this site. That would be awesome to see if it picks anything up. Anyway, so there you have it. 5 ancient sacred Hebrew symbols right there at a Hopewell Mound Builder site in Ohio, with one of the symbols still there, carved into the landscape, staring us all in the face and telling us, yes, Hebrew people were here in ancient North America. In closing, among the many Hebrew-related artifacts here in the U.S., there was one that was dug out of a hill in 1826 near Palmyra, New York. It was an ancient record engraved on thin metal plates, which the mound builders also knew how to make. This record tells about a small group of Hebrew people who left Jerusalem in 600 BC, shortly before the Babylonians destroyed the city. This small group of Hebrews sailed to ancient America. Their record was printed into the English language in 1830, and it's called the Book of Mormon. Mormon is the name of one of the last guys who wrote in the record in 385 AD after his people were slaughtered in a great war that lasted decades and culminated in what is now the state of New York. Mormon's son, Moroni, was the last guy who wrote in the record in 421 AD. The archaeologic record of the Hopewell Mound Builders strongly suggests that their civilization did end in New York around 400 AD. And there are Native Americans who will tell you that the Mound Builder civilization was mostly killed off in New York, but that some of them escaped southward to Kentucky, where they were finally destroyed. And the Book of Mormon also mentions this, that after the last great battle in New York, there were a few who escaped to the south, but were finally killed as well. So this ancient metal record that the Book of Mormon came from was originally written in a reformed Egyptian language. Some of the characters on the record are similar to some of the characters in the written language of the Algonquin Mi'kmaq Native Americans, whose written language is also a form of Egyptian called Hieratic Egyptian. And they had this language before the European settlers arrived. So how did the Mi'kmaqs have Hieratic Egyptian as their language? My opinion is that the language was handed down through the generations from the ancient Hebrews who came to North America 2,600 years ago, who knew how to speak, read, and write both the Hebrew and Egyptian languages. The Book of Mormon tells about this ancient Hebrew people and how some of them also believed in Jesus Christ as the Son of God. Well, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please be sure to like it and share it with others to spread awareness of this ancient Hebrew people who lived here in ancient North America.